Hey everybody! So for a long time, I never really felt like I was traveling unless I got on a plane and left my country. And I always thought that the United States, which is where I'm from, was somewhat plain and that it was like my norm. And why would I spend my time and money seeing things that I grew up around? But obviously that's not true. The United States is huge. It's super diverse. We have the Great Plains, beaches, deserts, mountains, forests, so many beautiful landscapes, and over 300 million people, all with their own unique lifestyles. Plus, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of hidden treasures all over our country. So in this video, I want to share something from the United States, and although I grew up in the United States, this is actually something that's new to me too. So I hand it over to David, the owner and founder of Calerin Forge, deep in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, to explain a little bit about his life and what he does.
My dad had a welding shop, so my brothers and I all grew up working with metal, and I've always been a student of history, so I'm the connection with the past that blacksmithing has is one of the things that drew me to it. There's just virtually anything out of iron or metal we can make it here. We try to make everything the traditional way. It's a very basic shop. I don't have a high-powered, high-priced belt sander. When we do a knife, we forge it out and then we file it and then we hand sand it. It's a very time-consuming process, but I feel like when we get done, we have a better quality product than, say something turned out in the factory somewhere. So you can see how we've changed the shape of that. This is called drawing out. We've drawn that material out of itself and made it longer and thinner. It's kind of the same process if you're playing with clay and you roll it between your hands to make a snake or whatever. You're just kind of rolling that between the hammer and the anvil and pushing it forward to do the same thing. So I'm going to heat it up now. I've drawn it out as a square, so I'm going to heat it up and round it back out. We take things that a lot of people would only think of as antiques and would treasure them for antiques, and we see that they're still usable and we use them. It's like my anvil was made about 1840, and a lot of my tongs are 100 to 150 years old. The heat of the fire and the violence of the hammer, and yet you can make something delicate and beautiful with all that. Early on we stumbled into the fact that people were asking, how, do you ever give classes? And so when we finally said yes, all of our classes are project driven. So you don't just go home with a bunch of odd pieces of, oh, this is this twist and this is this. Everything we do, we incorporate the techniques into actual making objects. You'll go home with a couple of knives and a handmade pair of tongs and a fire rake, and I think the best way to learn a technique is to actually be making something useful. It's just, I enjoy it. I enjoy figuring out how things were done historically and trying to reproduce that. Virtually every homestead had a small forge.
Really?
On the farm. People were a lot more independent in older times. If you needed something, there generally wasn't money to go and buy it from somebody, so you either repaired what you had or you took what you had and saw how it was made and tried to reproduce it and make one of your own. Every time you build a fire, you're going through the same techniques and procedures that people have done for 5,000 years.